Have you ever been in like a busy sports bar trying to watch the game and the screen just flickers and goes black while they switch feeds? Or maybe you're at home juggling your TV, maybe a projector, your console, and just wishing it wasn't such a headache to get them working together smoothly. Yeah, or even in a meeting room at work, just hoping the presentation pops up on all the screens without some weird glitch. It happens all the time. Well, behind the scenes, making those multi-screen setups actually work seamlessly without those hitches, there's often some pretty clever switching technology involved. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
That's right. We're zoning in on one specific device today. It's the WolfPack 4K 60Hz seamless 4x4 HDMI Matrix Switch with video wall processing. Comes from HDTV Supply. And just so you know, everything we're discussing comes straight from the detailed info they provide on this product.
Okay, so our mission here is to unpack how this particular bit of tech actually works, what makes it different, what's the secret sauce, and also look at where you'd actually find this making a difference in the real world, delivering that truly seamless experience they talk about. Let's get into it. All right, so we know the problem managing multiple screens can be messy, but let's start basic. What is a 4x4 HDMI matrix switch? Like, fundamentally.
Okay, yeah. Simply put, think of it as a central traffic controller for your high-def video and audio. It lets you take up to 4 different 4K 60Hz HDMI sources, could be Blu-ray players, game consoles, whatever thing, and send any one of them to any one of 4 different 4K 60Hz screens or projectors.
Okay, so 4 inputs, 4 outputs. But you said matrix. That sounds more complex than just sending one thing to one place.
Exactly. That's the key. The matrix part means it's incredibly flexible. It's not just one-to-one. You could send, say, input 1 to output A. Fine. But you could also send input 1 to outputs B, C, and D at the same time. Or input 1 to A, input 2 to B, input 3 to C, input 4 to D, or any other combination you can think of. The product info actually mentions thousands of possible input-output combinations. Total flexibility.
Right, that makes sense for complex setups. But here's the bit that caught my eye, the seamless part. That sounds different, because anyone who's messed with HDMI switching knows that pause, right? The flicker, the black screen, sometimes it feels like forever. This WolfPack thing claims a switching time of just 0.08 seconds. That's incredibly fast, and it specifically avoids that flashing.
Ah, yes, the seamlessness. That is the standout feature, and it's technically quite clever. There are a couple of things going on. First, it manages something called EDID Extended Display Identification data. Think of it like the display telling the source what it's capable of showing. This switch basically presents a unified EDID to the source, representing all connected displays. This stops the source device, your console or whatever, from constantly trying to renegotiate the connection and adjust resolution every single time you switch outputs. That alone saves a lot of time and potential glitches.
Okay, so it smooths out the digital handshake, basically.
Yeah.
Prevents those awkward pauses.
Exactly. But the really critical part, the bit that guarantees quality, happens inside the switch. As the HDMI signal comes in, it doesn't just pass through, it gets completely regenerated, it's retimed, the signal levels are corrected, any phase errors are fixed, and crucially, data jitter, tiny timing variations that degrade the signal is eliminated. So the signal coming out is described as a regenerated, brand new, perfect HDMI signal.
Wow. So it's not just switching, it's actively cleaning up and rebuilding the signal. That sounds like it would solve a lot of problems, especially with longer cables, maybe.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a huge benefit for reliability. You're getting the best possible signal to each display every time, regardless of which source you just switched from. Less troubleshooting, much more stable picture.
Okay, that seamless aspect and the signal regeneration are pretty compelling. It's like a signal conditioner and a switch rolled into one. Beyond that, what other specs make this device stand out? What gives it its power?
Well, looking at the details, it's definitely built for performance. Video-wise, it handles resolutions up to 4K at 60 frames per second, which is, the standard for smooth Ultra HD. It uses 4.2.0 chroma subsampling, which is a smart way to handle color information efficiently for high resolutions, keeping the picture sharp without needing excessive bandwidth. Speaking of bandwidth, it supports 10 gigabits per second, plenty for 4K 60 video. And it's compliant with HDMI 1.4 and HDCP 1.4, meaning it works with most modern gear and protected content. Oh, and it has advanced color space conversion, CSC, to help make colors look consistent across different types of displays.
Right, consistency is key when you have multiple screens. What about audio? And how easy is it to actually control this thing? It looks like it has a lot of ports.
Yeah, audio is handled nicely too. It does audio embedding and de-embedding.
Yeah.
So you can add audio to the HDMI signal or pull audio out of it. And really useful, it has separate 3.5 millimeter stereo audio outputs for each of the 4 HDMI outputs. Great for connecting to external amplifiers or speakers. And control. It's incredibly flexible. You've got dedicated apps, a web interface you access through a browser, physical buttons on the front. Then there's network control via TCP/IP using dual RJ45 ports, serial control with RS-232 again, dual ports for that, a standard IR remote, and even dedicated control software.
Wow. Okay. So apps, web, buttons, network, serial IR, basically any way you'd want to control it, it seems to be covered. Does that make it easy to integrate into like smart home systems or big commercial setups?
Absolutely. That range of control options is designed specifically for integration into almost any scenario, from advanced home theaters to, complex commercial AV systems. Plus, it has advanced EDID management features, so you can really fine-tune how sources and displays talk to each other to fix tricky compatibility issues. And there are DIP switches for scaling on the inputs and outputs, giving you hardware-level control over resolution adaptation if needed. And yeah, physically, it's a solid piece of kit. 19-inch rack-mountable, 2U size, modular design, metal case, built to last.
Okay, we've got the seamless switching, the signal regeneration, the high specs, the flexible control. So where does this all actually matter? For you listening, where would you really feel the benefit of this technology in the real world?
Well, the applications are pretty broad, actually. Think about that sports bar we mentioned earlier, instantly switching games across multiple TVs without any annoying flicker. Perfect for that. High-end home theaters where you want zero delay switching between your movie player, your game console, your streaming box. Definitely gaming rooms where even milliseconds of delay are noticeable. Restaurants, casinos, shopping malls using digital signage that needs to be dynamic and reliable. Places like bowling alleys or fitness centers creating multi-screen video experiences. Even houses of worship, data centers, nail salons using digital displays, country clubs, factories, conference rooms, schools, anywhere you need reliable distribution of multiple video sources to multiple screens, especially if you want to do video walls, which this explicitly supports. It just removes the usual headaches.
That list covers a lot of ground. It really seems aimed at places where visual experience and reliability are paramount. Are there setups where this might be maybe overkill?
That's fair. I mean, if you just have one TV and maybe two sources, like a cable box and a Blu-ray player in your living room, yeah, this is probably more horsepower than you need. Its real value shines when you multiply the sources and the displays, and when that seamless, high-quality switching becomes critical, or when you step into video wall territory, it excels at managing that complexity.
Got it. Makes sense. So for someone looking at this kind of solution, what are the practicalities? Price, what's in the box?
Right now, the price listed is $800, and it shows as in stock. When you get it, the box includes the main 4x4 switcher unit itself, the power adapter, an IR remote control, and the user manual. Physically, it ships at around 6 pounds, so it's not excessively heavy. And its operating temperature range is pretty standard for indoor electronics, 32 to 104 Fahrenheit, suitable for most environments.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it really feels like this deep dive shows how one very thoughtfully engineered device like this WolfPack switch can take something potentially really complex, distributing lots of video sources to lots of screens, and make it not just work, but work flawlessly. It seems to elevate the whole experience, making these advanced setups feel genuinely seamless and, well, plug and away.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Considering the level of engineering here, regenerating that perfect signal, enabling instant switching, what kinds of really immersive, maybe interactive, multi-screen environments could this level of control unlock down the road? Things we probably haven't even thought of yet.